You may remember the release of the CORSAIR 4000 series back in September of last year, with 3 models for 3 very different uses, whether you wanted airflow, a sleek design, or all-out RGB. Well, now it's time for its bigger brother, the 5000 series. Let's do this. The iCUE H150i Elite Capellix from CORSAIR. Let's take a look. These LEDs, they're so bright. These Capellix LEDs, really are gonna outshine the competition. I should click the link in the description to find out more. Let's face it, mid-tower cases are the most popular on the market, and with so much competition out there, how do you look to kind of differentiate and get people to buy your product over the rest? Well, the CORSAIR 4000 series set to do exactly that by having 3 cases that were, for the most part, the same, but with a different fan configuration, front panel, and not much else. It turned out that was enough though, with the 4000D, the D Airflow, and the iCUE X RGB literally flying off the shelves. Now, some people wanted maybe a little bit more and didn't mind going slightly bigger, as long as it conformed to a mid-tower, and that's where the 5000 series comes in. Yes, CORSAIR are back, giving us 3 brand new cases. I mean, technically it's 6 if you take every colour into account, black and white, full of features for pretty much all types of PC users. Whether you're looking for something sleek and stylish, they have the 5000D. Whether you're after something to keep everything cool inside, the 5000D Airflow, or you might be after something bright and pretty much in your face, and that is where the iCUE 5000X RGB comes in. So before we take a closer look at each case, let's mention the elephant in the room. Pricing. The 5000D and the Airflow are both coming in at $149.99 excluding taxes and shipping, or £139.99 in the UK. The iCUE 5000X RGB comes in slightly higher at $189.99 or £169.99. So there's a little bit of an increase of £30 from the 4000 series cases, but there are plenty of reasons to justify this increase. Right off the bat, the most noticeable thing that has changed is, well, yeah, the size. Compared to the 4000 series, they are taller, they are wider and deeper, and I'm pretty sure there's a Daft Punk song in there somewhere. Still classed as a mid-tower case, they're capable of holding anything up to an eTeknix motherboard, again, like its little brother. They're also available in either black or white, depending on your personal preference. Looking at the front of each case, the 5000D has a sleek metal front to it, while the XRGB has tempered glass. They both have ample gaps running down either side to allow a nice amount of airflow through, a problem that some case manufacturers never really seem to address. The Airflow model takes it one step further, with the front panel featuring a punched out triangular pattern, as well as the same gaps down the edges as the other 2 models. They all also have coloured matching magnetic dust filters behind the front panels to keep the insides of them nice and clean, and of course they are easily removable. All 3 models have tempered glass panels held on by captive screws, still with that debatable yellow washer and the hook hinge type mechanism to hold it in place, which I've got to admit, I'm still not completely sold on. It just feels a bit odd to pull it out and pull it off. Maybe it's just me. With the white cases, the glass is completely transparent, and with the black cases, the glass is smoked. I mean, in all honesty though, it would have been nice to see the option of having fully transparent glass on the black cases, especially with the XRGB case. I don't want to sort of block out the light. I want to be able to see what's inside, especially when you do something crazy like this. On the right, they all have this mesh airflow section towards the front, which is quite a good design, and it does provide ample airflow to the side fan mounting plate, which we'll talk about in a little bit more detail later on. The XRGB has got glass on the right hand side, which is okay, but it's met immediately with another white panel, so it's not like you can really see anything through the glass. Though, you could remove the inner hinge door, revealing your SSD and hard drive mounts, but you'd also be revealing your cable management, so definitely make sure that is on point. It's also great if you have any form of customization or RGB on this side, because, well, you're gonna see it. Both the 5000D and the Airflow have solid steel sides, also with the same mesh section, which has a magnetic removable nylon dust filter, so no worries there. The front I/O is what we typically expect, with a single USB 3.1 Type-C port, much like the 4000 series. But now it also includes 2 USB 3.0 ports, one more than the 4000 series. I mean, that's actually really nice to see, and apparently according to Corsair, the reason they added a second one was purely down to user feedback. Along the top, you'll find that the 5000D is made of steel, the airflow hosting the same mesh steel as the front of the case, and on the RGB case, a glass panel. Underneath this, there is a recess of about 1 inch with a magnetic dust filter, and there's plenty of space in here to put 3 fans if you wanted to. Especially handy if you're planning to install a thicker top-mounted radiator inside the case. The bottom of the case has the same raised rubber feet that we saw on the 4000 series to aid in airflow, and towards the rear is a removable dust filter. Being a mid-tower, it comes with the typical 7 ventilated expansion slots as well as 2 vertical slots for GPU mounting, though this still looks a little bit too tight for my liking, very much like it did on the 4000 series. But I guess a lot will depend on exactly how thick your graphics card is. So first impressions of the inside is that there is a ton of room, and even the latest and greatest GPUs up to a whopping 420mm in length will fit comfortably inside, compared to the 360mm you could fit in the 4000 series cases. I mean, this is pretty great news for 3090 owners, 6900 XT owners. You're not going to have a problem. When it comes to the fans, this is where the cases differ ever so slightly. The X RGB comes with 3 SP RGB Elite 120mm fans at the front, and unfortunately didn't include one in the rear of the case. And sadly, you still can't buy this exact model of fans just yet, but we've been told that they are launching potentially at the end of Q1. With the 5000D and the Airflow model, they both come with a single 120mm fan on the front and a 120mm in the rear. With an extended standoff on the case, it makes life a million times easier when installing the motherboard, and something, in all honesty, and you've probably seen this on my live streams, I think all cases should have in this day and age. Behind it is a motherboard accessory tray where you can attach a single SSD or even a hard drive, and is easily removed, meaning you can still get to the back of your motherboard if you ever need to change your cooler. In all honesty, I've never ever had to do that, but maybe that's just me. I put a cooler in a case, it stays there. It never really gets changed. For cable management, there's a good amount of cutouts as well as a removable plate which frees up the space for eATX motherboards, as well as giving access for another 3 120mm fans or even a slim radiator. Talking about radiators, as you can see, the case can fit up to a 360mm 30mm thick rad on the top of the case, and while a 54mm would fit, it does mean having your fans on the outside of the case, which personally, I'm just not a big fan of. Get it? Fan of. I'll leave. Up to a 360mm 30mm thick rad will fit in the front easily, but if you're wanting to go slightly thicker, you will need to swap out part of the PSU shroud, which thankfully does come included and actually looks, I think it looks quite nice. It also gives you some extra room for pump placement as well. In the rear, you could fit a 120mm rad, but do people really still do that these days? I mean, with the power of GPUs and CPUs these days, 120mm is not really going to cut it. When it comes to radiator placement inside the case, we spent quite a bit of time working out where kind of each combination works. Some combos are possible, but in all honesty, they're just not optimal. The best way of having your rads in this case is with one at the top with the ports towards the rear and one at the front as long as you have your ports at the bottom of the case. Now, the same applies if you're going to be going for a top and side mounted rad, which we actually decided to do here. For those seeking the very best airflow, you'll love the fact that these cases can take a total of 13 fans. Of course, that does involve kind of sandwiching a slim radiator between the 2 sets of fans on the top of the case, with 3 on the inside and technically 3 on the outside. That's actually 4 more fans than the best-selling competitor, the Lian Li 011 Dynamic. The PSU shroud keeps the same well-ventilated triangular mesh, and there are 2 large cutouts for your HD audio cable and front panel headers, with enough space to run them without the PSU getting in the way. Been a massive pet peeve of mine for I don't know how long. You can actually run it and not get it squashed. You can also fit 2 SSD trays on the top if you wanted to, I don't know, show your drives off, especially if you have something like the Delta RGB SSD from Team Group. I think in all honesty that would look amazing here. For those wanting a little bit extra storage, there's a removable hard drive cage with space for 2 hard drives. If you're using a side rad and a long PSU, it's pretty easy to move or even remove entirely depending on your build. If you are struggling, remember you can always place your hard drive on that motherboard accessory tray. I mean, the way that the market's going right now, SSDs are getting even more affordable. Do people still use hard drives? Let me know in the comments. Just like the 4000, the power supply has to be installed from the side, which isn't a real problem, but can be a little bit annoying when trying to deal with mass amounts of cables. But having up to 225mm of space is actually pretty decent. Now, one little neat feature is the easily removable magnetic hinged door, which does admittedly keep your cables hidden out of view, so you don't really need to, focus too much on that, as well as giving space for 3 SSDs. There's also plenty of raceways for cable management with 3 pre-installed cable ties and more in the accessory box. Though if you wanted to, you could always replace them with, the eTeknix cable ties. You know where to find them, store.eteknix.com. Also back here is a 6-port PWM repeater, and in the XRGB case you'll also find CORSAIR iCUE lighting node core, giving you full access to your lighting through the CORSAIR iCUE software. It is worth noting that the placement of the lighting node core means that you are kind of forfeiting space for a hard drive, but an SSD can still be installed there, or you could just simply move the lighting node core. So what's the general consensus? I mean, I love the 4000 series, so much so that I actually built a personal gaming rig in the iCUE 4000 XRGB for at home. We have got a video on it, so definitely go and check that one out. It's full on RGB. So the 5000 series, well, it just kind of takes things one step further due to its size mainly. It has room for storage, it keeps things cooler, it has plenty of room for custom cooling, as you can see, or even just using AIOs in different formations. It kind of has, again, like the 4000 series, something for everyone. The raceways and the hinged inner door kind of makes keeping your system neat and tidy. It makes it a lot easier and it's easily accessible as well. And no matter which model you go for, it's just a stunning addition to your work or gaming setup. In all honesty, when looking at the design, I think it looks absolutely fantastic. And with what they've done with the top of the case, it just kind of sets it apart from the 4000 series and its major competitors, again, the O11 Dynamic. There's more than enough room to have pretty much any kind of setup inside. Whether you're into, putting a micro screen in it or little objects inside your system, which for some reason people are doing these days. If you're doing something extremely powerful, you may even need a bigger system like this for Threadripper, especially with the recent announcements. This case can do the job for you. Custom loop, well, let's call it a little bit restricted, and we have got a full video on this whole setup. It just takes a little thinking and a little bit more planning, but what custom loop doesn't? Our industrious kind of styled loop, I think, looks absolutely amazing. And if you want to find out more, definitely go and check out that dedicated video we did for this rig. I'm really proud of how it came out. So let me know in the comments section below, which model is for you? Do you like the kind of sleek and stylish 5000D? Or are you after something to keep your setup nice and cool with a 5000D airflow? Maybe you're after something that's bright, colourful, just like the 5000X RGB case. I'm interested to see what the market and what generally you guys think. Till next time, adios amigos. See you later.